What's up, guys? Iceman here. Welcome to Meditations. Appreciate y'all for liking this video. Subscribe to the page and hit that bell so you're notified next time I post a video. And blessings to my patrons. Links in the description below. Damn, do I hate being right all the time. So, I'm making this video because I fear this might happen. So, for decades, Big Red Dragon Country has been making our goods. You know what I mean? Even our medication. Over 90% of it comes from Big Red Dragon Country. And have you ever read that book, The Art of War? How you can destroy a nation without firing a single round. You infiltrate their media, infiltrate their academia, get the children and the young folks to hate their own nation. And you kind of get what we see today in the United States. Strange, isn't it? Check that out, the book Art of War. So, my speculation is, and some would argue this, that Big Red Dragon Country has been forcing labor to an extent for a long time. Where it has a ruling class or whatnot, and a bunch of slaves to an extent. My speculation here is that the rulers and principalities that be, they don't want to just enslave their people forever and keep making cheap things for nations across the sea. All right. They probably have an end game to it. So, and they say that they've infiltrated our politics, where on both sides of the political spectrum, you've waged for regulations that pretty much force manufacturing of everything outside of your country. And they've taken on that role. So on both sides of the political spectrum, you have people signing in these laws and regulations that make the manufacturers be like, okay, fuck it, we're not going to be here anymore. And then they move overseas and they get bought out and they still ship their shit here. And it causes all sorts of economic disaster. Which is why, partly, the dollar has lost a hell of a lot of its buying power. You know, they say, oh, in the 50s or whatever, one income could support a household. And obviously, not quite the case today, is it? So I speculate that Big Red Dragon Country, they don't just want to keep making us cheap shit forever. Just because it's fun and they like our green baseless money that is soon to lose its place as the world reserve currency, if nothing changes, and has no intrinsic value whatsoever. Because who knows, they might have had a hand in the whole debasing it from the gold standard several decades ago anyway. Bunch of con people within. Again, on both sides of the political spectrum, this, that, and the third. You guys see where I'm going with this? I don't think they just want the green dollars. They're not even green dollars anymore. They're not even paper anymore. They're just numbers on a screen that can inflate to seemingly infinity. Right? $35 trillion in debt in the Federal Reserve private bank. Fucking crazy. So yeah, I don't think they're just wanting to make the cheap stuff forever ongoing just to get the fake money that has no intrinsic value, that's about to lose its place as the world reserve currency if things keep going the way that they're going. Which, strangely enough, to my understanding, they've been building up their military. See, so the manufacturing, perhaps they had a role in it, I don't know. They pull it all away from the nation, right? From the United States. They pull it all away. And then the academia and everything else gets infiltrated. They're like, oh, you're evil. It's bad to like your own country. It's bad to like your own nation. Then they stir up all sorts of sexism stuff, racism stuff all over the place. And they get everyone to hate themselves within. You know what I mean? So they do that. And then they sell the cheap shit and they take the dollars and they, with those dollars, building up the military. All right. Don't they have like the biggest navy in the world or something? And potentially could have the biggest army in the world. I mean, I think they already do. But if there were to be something like a draft, they could have a lot of people. And this could potentially be connected with the Bible. You know how it goes on about that big army of 200 billion? Well, guess who, to my understanding, is the only country who's capable of doing that today? I mean, these were unheard of numbers back when this was written. There probably weren't even that many people in the world. In fact, I know there weren't. Well, with the information we've been given anyway. But if they wanted to, they could have an army of 200 billion people in a couple months. You just got to do a draft, train them, get them prepared for war, and you got it ready to go. All right? So they've been selling us cheap shit for decades, building and building up the military, getting all sorts of technology and shit, making our medicine, you know what I mean? And then you have that other big country that's involved in that big war right now. The big bear country, or whatever the hell you call it. Resources being spent all over the place, right? In the United States, putting all the hundreds of billions of dollars into that, deplenishing their own resources, deplenishing their fuel reserves that were meant to be for war. The fuck are you doing using that? You see what I'm saying? When you're not directly in a war right now. And you're feeling wars all over the damn place. While all the while, Big Red Dragon Country is just sitting there watching. And still doing trades with both sides. You see what I'm saying? They're doing trades all over the damn place. I mean, to an extent, it's probably a smart maneuver. How could it not be? But it's also a smart maneuver if you're looking to get a monopoly on the world in the coming years. And they're definitely not stupid. I mean, who isn't? It seems like man at its core desires conquest and conquering, right? Isn't it in our nature? Even at an individual standpoint, man desires things that are in parallel with that. You want to beat your competition. You want to get ahead. You want to save money. You want to do better than your neighbor. You want to get all the women, things like that. You know what I mean? It's kind of about aggressive expansion. Maybe if you have nations that are built on the fundamentals of Christianity or something, they wouldn't really want to do that. But anything beyond that, it's kind of hard to imagine fighting that force of nature that I think is within us all. That desire to defeat, to prevail. You know what I mean? So I speculate things could be heading in that direction. And almost all of our media, if you look this up, the media of the United States, including all the other big institutions, entertainment, academia, everything else, It's all fueled and dominated and owned by the same 6 global corporations, all right? Most of these are controlled by the same entities. I mean, you could almost say, yeah, it's all owned by Big Red Dragon Country. A lot of it is. So, it's a little fucked up, ain't it? And then we have this election coming up. I mean, folks, they could, with this channel, the stuff that I've talked about on this channel, I've speculated that if this stuff is true, the Bible, Jesus, God, this, that, and the third. And then, of course, I came about it in a different way, right? Thought outside the box a little bit. You got this niche of people who are considered heretics, basically. Just how Jesus was considered a heretic back when he was walking around, right? And so they killed him. The religious leaders of the day killed him. We got this niche of people who are saying, yeah, the rapture. It already happened. You're like, what? You're like, yeah, it already happened. Remember when Jesus said this generation will not pass until all these things come to fruition? Remember how he said, you will not make it through all the towns of Israel before my return? Remember how he said, you will see me coming back from the sky, this generation, even those who have pierced me? Says the time is imminent, the time is nigh, this, that, and the third. Well, there's this sector of Christians, or whatever you call them, who say that, yeah, Jesus was for real, and yeah, Jesus meant what he said. And it's not that, yeah, here we are 2,000 years later and none of that shit has happened. Or maybe 1,000 years, who knows? Those fuckers are probably lying to us. It's all an illusion. The winners tell and write the history. Remember that. All right, what year really are we in? Let me know in the comments below. But nonetheless, it was a while ago, right? You'd think that he'd really say that if there were centuries and centuries to come. I mean, you might as well not believe in any of it. Because that's kind of what we're left with. But there's this sector, and I've touched on this in this channel, how what he said was potentially true and it potentially happened. And then there's all this shit about this emperor named Nero. And how he was the antichrist, the top dog, anyway, the top dog antichrist. Killed millions of Christians and a couple other sectors of religious folks, a lot of them too, probably millions of them, you know what I mean? Or maybe it was just Christians, I don't know. But this guy was said to impale him, burn him at the stake, this and that, like the true persecution. That everyone says, oh, it's around the corner, you know, those big rich guys who wrote all those Left Behind series and all the stuff that the media propagates when it comes to supposed end times. Oh, yeah, the Christians are in big trouble. Yeah, bullshit. But these folks say that those true persecuting times were a couple generations after Jesus. Or that generation. I don't know. It might have been that generation. They say it was at 70 AD or something. Maybe that generation was still alive then. You know, what was that, like 30 years or something later? 35 years later? And they say that that's when the sky opened up. They said, look into that Josephus guy. He wrote on it how there's the big heavenly battles that were prophesied in Revelation. And all the big plagues, this and that. 1/3 of humanity wiped out, this and that. And that the millennial reign then happened. Look up to Teria. These big-ass buildings all over the place. That beautiful constructs of architectural wonders. All right. They're saying, yeah, Jesus reigned for 1,000 years, like what it says in the Bible. And right now we're in the Revelation 20, where the 1,000 years have ended. Has ended. And Satan has been given authority for a little while to deceive the nations. And how the hell could we not be under something like that right now if you look around? You think some evil entities run the show, or at least, I mean, it could be man or it could be devil. I mean, whatever it is, it's doing an injustice to those who dwell on the earth. So, with that being said, yeah, man, some folks say that that's where we're heading. And I can't help but speculate, is something coming up with Big Red Dragon Country. Then we got this election coming up, right? We got that guy and then we got that lady. And I predict, like I said, I'm right a lot. I don't know how else to put it. Okay. And I predict the guy's going to get in office. It's going to sort of change the landscape of things when it comes to these world affairs. And you know how the president can make that executive order when we're in a war with another country? They can stay in office even longer. I can't help but wonder if that's going to be enacted down the road here. And that's going to be going on with Big Red Dragon Country. And they say that if we are in Revelation 20 right now, what's to come then? Well, the mark of the beast and all that crap already happened. All these big-ass plagues already happened. You know what I'm saying? Rapture already happened. Way back. We're descendants of those who took the mark of the beast or something. We're descendants of those who lived in the millennial reign and changing history or some shit. I don't know. Just theories. But what's next is the battle of Gog and Magog is what it's called. I think that's how you say it. Let me Google it a second. And I can't help but wonder if that's what this is. You know what I'm saying? The media's been hush-hush about it. Because like I said, they probably own it. Yeah, Big Red Dragon Country, we don't ever hear anything about them. You know what I'm saying? I don't want this to happen. I want to be at war, this and that. I'm just speculating here. All right? And I like to call things before they happen. So if you guys will like this damn video, subscribe to the page, become a patron if you want to support the meditations. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace be with you. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. 1.